Welcome to season 15 of the Parenting Aces Podcast, part of the Tennis Channel Podcast Network. I'm your host, Lisa Stone, and this week we are chatting with Martin Vinokur of Tennis Europe, along with one of his summer 2024 students and the mom of the student to talk about their experience with Tennis Europe. And what's so cool about talking with the Spillermans is that Max Spillerman, who went on Tennis Europe this past summer, has an older brother who also did a Tennis Europe trip when he was in high school. So Mom Dorothy is very, very well versed in the experience, the company, all that goes into making decisions about sending your child out of the country to train and play tennis. And what's even cooler is that Tennis Europe and I have been chatting. And for those who are considering a trip to Europe this coming summer, you can combine Tennis Europe with our trip to Spain and the Nadal Academy in July and do two trips for, one flight over to Europe. And we'd love to have you join us for both experiences. So I want you to check out the show notes because Marty shares the website, his contact info, and you'll be able to get all the details in the show notes with links directly to the Tennis Europe website. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my conversation with Martin Vinokur of Tennis Europe and Max Spillerman and Mom Dorothy Potash. Welcome to the podcast, Max and Dorothy. Martin Vinokur from Tennis Europe is here with us as well. It's lovely to meet the two of you, Max and Dorothy, and always lovely to see you, Martin, and looking forward to chatting with y'all about Tennis Europe.
We're excited to talk about it.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm going to start with you, Dorothy, because this is not new for you. Max is your second child to go on a Tennis Europe trip. I want you to kind of share with the Parenting Aces community a little bit about how you found Tennis Europe, what you were looking for, and what made you come back with a second child to do this experience again.
Yes, it's kind of like a cult thing. I mean, it's like, it's this like iconic coming of age, incredible experience that we had heard about. I think that it's hard for me to remember now, like 5 years or 6 years ago when we first heard about it. And since then, I've had a bunch of clients who are, in their 30s and 40s who did Tennis Europe that have lifelong friendships. And to us, it just seemed like what an amazing experience. Both my sons, Max and his older brother, Garrett, extremely passionate about tennis. But what an incredible experience to take that and do it around the world and have an experience to meet kids from all over and play tennis in completely out of context in a whole nother world and have that experience. It was certainly life-changing for both of them. For different reasons. And I can say...
And let's dig into that in just a minute. Before we go much further, Martin, I want to just give you the opportunity to kind of share with our community what is Tennis Europe and, how did it get started? Because then what you're saying, Dorothy, will make a whole lot more sense to those listening.
Well, I'll take where it gets started. I was teaching and coaching in Long Island, New York in 1973. We weren't doing very well with our high school league. And one of the players on my team had a cousin who lived in Germany and said, why don't you come to Europe and play tournaments and get a lot of match experience on the slow red clay? Maybe you'll have a better team next year. So we went that first year with 5 players. And then we were in Tennis Magazine and a full-page article. And after that, we had 18 players, and we kept going up. The goal of Tennis Europe in tennis is to play a lot of matches in a very short period of time, have those matches analyzed by our coaches, many of whom are college tennis coaches or USPTA, RSPA certified pros. They watch the matches, they analyze them, not all of them, but many of them. And then we practice between the tournaments to correct the mistakes they've made in the matches. We're not a tennis camp. We don't teach the basics. We work on strategy, tactics, and mental approach, how to be a smarter match player. And the USTA has found that red clay is a tremendously helpful service for gaining mental toughness. You don't just win a point by bashing winners left and right. In effect, you really have to move your opponent out of position, then you can hit a winner. And so our players gain steadiness, drop shots, more of a sense of strategy and tactics, and just how to think a shot or two or three shots ahead. As the USTA says, it's very helpful for American juniors to play in Europe because of the caliber of the competition and because of the different skills they can add to their repertoire. All of the tournaments we play, except for one, count for the Universal Tennis Rating, UTR. So when we're away the 2 or 3 weeks, you don't lose out on presenting an enhanced UTR because every tournament we play in Europe counts for the UTR. I think that covers the besides the tennis, of course, as Dorothy said, it is a life growth experience. You get to meet people from all over the United States who travel on a team, in a team atmosphere, and everybody is rooting for everybody else on the team. And you get to meet Europeans, many of them teenagers, who really give us the royal welcome. They roll out the red carpet for us. So it's a non-touristy way of seeing. We hit all the major sites, but at the same time, we spend most of our time, 75, 80% of our time, with our friends from the tournament from Europe. So,
and this is for what age group?
It's
what age range?
Finishing 7th grade or 13, up to finishing 12th grade or 18.
Okay. And what level player?
We actually have 2 or 3 different levels of teams, depending on the number of players, or we mix the teams. But the levels would be high school varsity or strong junior varsity, who've mastered the basics, grooved their strokes, and are ready to play matches. If one of your Parenting Aces bloggers is familiar, we check out the credentials of each player. We require references from 2 teachers based on character and 1 tennis coach. Just, are you ready? Have you mastered the basics, ready to play matches?
Got
I have 1 top team called our national team. And they have to be ranked 2-star or better on tennisrecruiting.net, maybe 6, 7 or higher on UTR, and maybe top 100, 150 in their sectional rankings with the U.S. Tennis Association. And again, the trip is, a maximum of 26 days, as short as 17 days. So a player will have plenty of time to come back and knock them dead playing in USTA tournaments. So,
and these trips run during the summer.
Excuse me?
The trips run during the summertime.
Yes.
Okay.
We're starting June 27th until July 22nd or July 13th. We try to be flexible. So a player, after all, our goal is to make a better match player when they come home. Not concerned about winning and losing on this trip. Concerned on, can they get a new set of skills? Can they get more mental toughness? We've had some excellent results with our national team, our top team. We've had over 30 who've gone on the pro tour. We've had a couple of 100 college players. We've been doing it for 50 years. This is our 51st summer, and we've had almost 5,800 players. So the goals are 2, to make them a better match player, more astute and smarter tactically and mentally, and 2, to meet other people from all over the place through tennis. Tennis is a common denominator, and you can go anywhere in the world and you're a tennis player, you get a good chance to meet and get to know our friends through tennis.
Love it. Love it.
We've gone to most of the countries in Europe over the years, and I constantly review the different locations to see if, there are some new offerings or we can improve on what we've done before. We may be
Great.
50 years old, but, we have to do a good job each year, and especially the last year and the next year.
And I want to encourage our listeners. We have done podcasts in the past with Martin where we've really dug into who are the coaches, what type of review process happens, the chaperoning situation, all of that. So if this is something you're considering for your child, I encourage you to go back and listen to those other episodes, and we'll have links to those in the show notes so that you get more detail on that piece of it. But for today, I really want to focus on Max's experience and his family's experience with Tennis Europe. So Max, let's jump over to you. First of all, what grade are you in and how old are you?
I'm a junior and I'm 17.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how long have you been playing tennis?
I've been playing pretty much my whole life. Got competitive with it though in the eighth grade, kind of. Started playing more tournaments and yeah, always played other sports. So, and then started focusing just on tennis in eighth grade.
Awesome. And you live where and who is your
In
coach?
Philadelphia, and I train at High Performance Tennis Academy.
Nice. And do you play high school tennis as well?
Yeah, I play high school tennis.
Awesome. Awesome. So what made you want to go on the Tennis Europe trip this past summer?
One, I wanted to get better at tennis. I want match play wise, play kids in Europe, play on the red clay, and I'd never been out of the country, and my brother loved it, and it would definitely be a life-changing experience, and it was a life-changing experience. And I wanted to get out of where I am and experience something new, and it was definitely an experience.
Did you go for 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
I went for the full time, 3 weeks.
Nice, nice. What was your favorite stop on the tour?
Probably Amsterdam.
Yeah,
Amsterdam's great, yeah.
I
Tournament was
haven't been
good,
there
and
other than the airport, so I can't speak too
okay.
much to it, but I've heard that it's a beautiful city.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome.
Yeah. And talk to us a little bit about the social piece of the trip. Where were some of the kids from that were in your group? Were there people you knew, or, was it a whole new group of friends for you?
It was a whole new group of friends. The kids were from all over, a couple in California, New York, or Connecticut, and in the middle of the country as well. So it was great, very variety of people, and became friends with all of them by the end, and they were all a great group of kids.
What do you feel like is the biggest takeaway for you from the trip?
Great question. I, I
It
think,
doesn't have to be tennis related, or it can be.
oh yeah. Well, tennis related, I think definitely a focus on, as Marty was saying, building the point and not just hitting winners. And red clay is a different animal, and the players over there are completely different than here. So that takeaway, and it helped transition back to playing over here, and my results showed they were better that this summer when I got back much. And then I think socially, it was a change of pace. And I mean, you're living with people 24/7, so you get to experience what it's like to live with someone other than your family. And you really get close with people.
That's really nice to hear. When you came back, was it a challenge to kind of explain to your home coach about what you learned, what you were doing training wise over there, and kind of integrating what you learned into your normal day-to-day training back home?
No, it was pretty seamless. Many similar drills as well, which was good. And then, um, I mean, the results were I won 3, 4 tournaments in 5, 6 weeks when I got back, so it was good. So it was pretty seamless.
What was the most surprising part of this experience for you?
Definitely coming back with a girlfriend.
I was hoping
Yeah,
you mentioned
who
that.
lives 3,000 miles away, but yeah,
Bummer. But
yeah,
she's geographically undesirable, but I guess with social media now, whatever, right?
it works. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. You know, it's funny when I went and did some training in Europe myself last year, one of the things that was so interesting to see, and intellectually I had known this, but to actually experience the fact that the drills I was doing there looked very similar to the drills I've been doing. I've like you, been playing tennis my whole life. There was no secret sauce. There was no like magic potion that they were doing differently, but there was a level of intensity that was very different from what I had seen here. Did you run across that as well?
Yeah, I mean the standard is I thought higher. I mean you're playing with better kids and then all day, and then you're also playing against better players in tournaments. The intensity there, I mean, they know how to move on a court very well. You experience different. I mean, it's a completely different experience. So yeah.
How long did it take you to get used to moving on the clay?
First couple of days after like maybe 2 or 3 days. First day on it was a challenge, definitely, but you get used to it.
Yeah, it's a killer
Yeah,
in the legs.
I should
yeah.
have had the trip started in London. We had a ticket to the first day of Wimbledon. And so it was around day 3 or day 4 before we hit the red clay in Prague, the Czech Republic.
Nice, nice. All right, Dorothy, I'm coming back to you because we were talking about the fact that not only did you send Max on Tennis Europe, but your older son had also done this trip. And from the parent side of things, because we are parenting aces, what is it that you felt like your kids came back with that was something unique that you don't feel like they might have learned had they stayed home?
I mean, I think it's amazing how in 3 weeks, I think they both achieved more of a global worldview, and felt part of a much larger world. I think it's easy for high school kids to really think that this little world that they live in is everything and it's forever. So it's just this expansive experience, I think, from so many different ways, thinking about how I remember my older son talking about how they were viewed, how America was viewed in certain countries was definitely very interesting. It's just so impactful in so many different ways. I like just holistically, I think they just felt it was such a, I think, freedom in so many ways. But freeing in the sense that they're not like because when you're a high school kid, I think sometimes you feel, like I said, like you're kind of trapped in this little world that's going to go like this forever. And then you go to Europe and you see all this opportunity of what the world really is, and meeting all different kinds of people and different customs. I think Max enjoyed the custom. Max, you'll talk about that, like when the winner has to buy the
No,
loser
the loser drink, yeah.
has to buy the
in
winner a drink. Yeah.
Amsterdam.
But just different customs at tennis. I think Max came back with stories of how like it's such a big part of like the tennis clubs in Europe are so different. I think one of the problems or challenges for us as parents here is pickleball's taken over all of our tennis courts.
No.
It's very difficult to play tournaments here. It's a real challenge to find tournaments. So being able to have, like in Europe, that level of play and that constant, and having the coaches, as Martin mentioned, like really, I mean, Max's game improved so much. I can't say enough how much better and how much better he was able to build points and think strategically when he got back. And then the other part, the social piece, my oldest son, one of his best friends ended up going to Cornell with him, Sydney. So they're still really, really, really good friends. They became friends on Tennis Europe. I mean, it was just like, it's just amazing. Max's friends, like he played a tournament in DC with one of them. a couple months ago, and his girlfriend, we've all become friends, like the family, we've all become friends as a result of Tennis Europe. And so it's just, as a parent, sending your kid to Europe this summer was a little scary. At different points, I think in Spain, there were protests against tourism, and, we felt very like our kids were safe.
Mhm.
Martin does a fabulous job in his coaches, and that's a big leap of faith for a parent sending but the fact that they were safe yet like free to experience the world in a safe way, and their game and all of that was just like, it was just fabulous.
Max, at any point, did you feel like nervous or scared? I'm not talking about before you left, because I'm sure there was some anxiety about, getting ready for the trip and what's going to be like and who am I going to meet and yada, yada. But you did have the benefit of your brother's experience too. But once you were there, was there ever a point where you felt like, oh, what if I get lost? Or, oh, I don't know what to order to eat because I don't speak the language? Or did you feel like you were very prepared, and being in this Tennis Europe environment gave you that sense of, being able to relax and kind of embrace the opportunity?
Yeah, very able to relax and embrace the opportunity, not nervous at all. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah. I
Well,
know. I mean,
let
it's
let me
scary sometimes to go someplace new with people you don't
Totally.
know and with coaches you don't know. And, it's tennis, as all of us know, is a very individual sport, and we're kind of used to putting those blinders on and focusing on ourselves and doing for ourselves and making sure that everything's in line. When you're traveling with a team and you're in the team environment with multiple coaches, the focus becomes very different. It becomes much more expansive and inclusive, hopefully.
Lisa, we try to prepare our participants. We have a 15-page player handbook before they leave. They have to sign a pledge for chaperoning and supervision. Our coaches are mainly college coaches in their late 20s and 30s. And we have been to these tournaments for years and years and years. So we know the lay of the land beforehand. I preview most of the hotels we go to. I inspect the rooms, even the showers and the toilets. So we try to, we emphasize, of course, safety and the health of our players is our number one and will always be our number one priority. And
Sure.
we try to make them feel very comfortable with their environments. When you're a tennis player, you're a student athlete. It's a little bit different from being an ordinary American tourist.
For sure. And I know that you guys do a great job, Martin, of doing all of that background check and making sure everything is safe for the kids. But I think it's always interesting to hear from the kids themselves, what they're feeling when they get there, even though Dorothy felt 100% confident that she was sending her child into an environment that was going to be safe and healthy and protected. Sometimes what a 16 or 17-year-old gets in their head about things it can be a little different. So I think that's why it's fun to talk with Max and hear about his experience doing this. Max, is this something that, like, now you've kind of gotten a taste of this international travel, international competition, does it make you want to travel more, to maybe travel to some different places? Or was it like, okay, this was super cool, glad to be back home?
No, I would love to travel more, go back, go to new places, get out of here. That would be great.
Max,
My life at home is so terrible. I'm looking at your living room, I'm assuming, where your mom is sitting. It's lovely.
Max, how about your experience when Spain won? That was
Oh yeah, it was so cool. We saw Spain in the semifinal of the Euros, and we were in the town center watching, and it was really cool when they won because
The football match you're talking
fireworks went
about?
off, and yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
it was so
Very
cool.
cool. So what was your favorite? Oh, you said Amsterdam. Okay.
Amsterdam, but
yeah.
Spain was pretty cool too. Yeah.
Spain's pretty cool. So tell us where all you did go. Can you list
Where
all the
else did
cities?
we went to London, Prague, Barcelona, and Amsterdam.
Okay.
And Prague.
So yeah, he said Prague. So 4
Yeah, I
cities?
said that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, 4 cities. 4 cities.
Okay, very cool. And talk to us a little bit about the experience of going to Wimbledon.
Wimbledon was unbelievable. I mean, you always see it on TV and it always looks so cool, and then to be there in person is unreal. And being able to see all the players, I mean, you can stand as far away as I am from the computer if you get lucky to get that close. And on some courts you did, and it was
Who did you
really.
see? Tell her
Yeah,
who
who'd you get to see?
Oh yeah, we saw Tiafo, Shelton. Shelton we sat courtside for, which was sick.
That's fun. He's fun to
yeah,
watch.
Berrettini, who else? Goff, and then a bunch of other people. It was really neat. Oh, Monfils. Oh yeah, that's cool.
He's fun to watch too. That's awesome. Was
Yeah.
this your first experience at a slam, or I mean, you live close to New York.
I've seen the
assuming
US
you've been to
Open.
the
I've
Open?
been I've been in the Open. But Wimbledon was that was
Pretty
next
special.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
I
special.
haven't been yet. It's on my list.
Yeah, totally.
You should do Tennis Europe.
I know. I think I'm too old. I think I'm a little too old, but
No.
no, it's okay. I'll get there someday. But so what are you going to do this summer? How do you follow up that experience?
I mean, it's pretty hard to follow up. It would have been. It would be great to do again, but no. I think keep with training, and I mean, I want to play college tennis one day, so make more progress towards that, more tournaments, and keep at it.
I love it.
We try to follow up after the trip and help our players who are rising seniors getting into college. I'm a certified counselor in New York State, have been for many years. And we contact coaches, many of whom have been on our trip. We had the Columbia assistant coach last summer, for example. And we try to recommend our players, write letters of recommendation, and go through the college process. And during the trip last summer, we actually had a night where we had a session with our college coaches explaining the process of applying and getting into the college of your choice, both for tennis and for the cultural advantages they experienced during the trip.
Love that. Dorothy, where did your older son wind up going after?
Oh, for college? Cornell.
Cornell. And is he playing tennis there?
He's a senior. He's not. He plays recreationally, but he's not playing in college.
Okay, love it. Yeah. It's a full-time job, college tennis. So
But he taught tennis for I mean up until maybe like this year he was teaching. It was just, it's as both of you said, certainly as Martin said, there's wherever you go in the world, once you're a tennis player, you will always find friends and you'll always have that common denominator. It's an amazing thing.
So what is Dorothy, your highest form of praise for Tennis Europe? If you were talking to a family that's looking at something to do for the summer with their child, what's the biggest selling point in your mind?
Oh my God, there's so many. I mean,
yeah.
Just the opportunity to see the world. It's a complete intersection of everything that as a parent that you want for your child, all in, 3-week package. I mean, you want, to expand the horizons of your child. You want your child to experience all of this exciting new cultures. As a tennis mom, you want, your child to, get better at their game and develop more confidence. And I think being able to play there is, tennis is such a head game. We all know that. And I think playing there, that whole experience, I think, is a huge confidence builder. not just from the expertise of the coaches and how they analyze, but just being there and doing it, I think just does a lot for your own mental game. So like I said, it was safe. I think most importantly, the friendships and the relationships that these kids can develop and how meaningful they are for life, I just think is a huge, I just can't say enough about it. I mean, it was just such a life-changing experience for both my kids. I'm jealous. I wish I could do it. I wish I could go on that trip. I think, Marty, you should have a trip for the grown-ups.
That was a few years ago.
That would be like we could go to 3 different countries. We don't even have to be in the same country that they're in. I think that would be
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Max, if you were talking to one of your buddies that's thinking about doing this next summer, what would be your biggest selling point?
It's a life-changing experience. I mean, you meet so many new people and lifelong connections with people. And I mean, your tennis just gets so much better. So do it.
I love it. Marty, before we wind down, I want to just give you the opportunity to let our audience know how they can get more information on Tennis Europe and what your registration deadline is, cost, dates, all those things.
Okay, well, thank you. And thank you to Dorothy and to Max for their very kind words. We have a website. That's the first place to go. www.tenniseurope, TENNISEUROPE.com. And actually on our homepage, we have our previous recording, which we did a year or two ago with Parenting Aces. Or you can call me. We're very small and I'm always around. My telephone number in Connecticut is 203-322-9803. Registration is on a first come, first served basis, assuming that a player presents 2 teacher references and 1 tennis reference to make sure they've mastered the basics. Once we reach our maximum of about 14 to 16 players, half boys, half girls, and we try to have some of each age on each team. Most players come without knowing anybody. So they can, from day one at Kennedy Airport, flying over to Europe with our coaches, and they can make, as Max said, lifelong friends. I should also point out that the one advantage of Tennis Europe over others is 50 years of experience and 5,800 players and over 400 coaches. So, and it helps, especially when you're in Europe in a new environment, to have that experience. We've worked with the same people year in and year out. Many of our coaches, in fact, are not from other countries than the US. So our peak recruiting time is upon us the next several months. So I would, once we reach our maximum 14 to 16, then that team is filled. We're offering 3 teams this summer, 2 for high school varsity and 1 for our top ranked players. And once a team is filled, that's pretty much it. You can go on another team. But if anybody does have an interest, I would suggest they get back to me, and we can do an information session on the phone. We can give you references from past participants who, like Dorothy and Max, can speak about their trips on Tennis Europe. And again, many thanks, Lisa, for all your support over the years.
Of course. And I want to point out, our audience hopefully by now knows I am also taking a group of juniors, and parents are welcome to join Dorothy, hint, hint, to Spain this summer. And the dates actually can work with Tennis Europe. So if you're interested in doing the Tennis Europe trip, want to stay a little bit longer, you can stay and join our trip in Barcelona and Mallorca and be an amazing summer. So If you need information on that, you'll know where to find me. Just hit me up and I'll be happy to point you, but the information's all on the homepage of our website too. Marty, I will put all of your contact information, the link to the website and all of that in the show notes. So anyone who is interested in exploring this opportunity further, please check out the show notes or just go to tenniseurope.com and you'll have all the information you need there. Any last words you guys want to share before we sign off? Max, Dorothy?
Just go.
Just go. I love it. Just go.
Just wanted to wish Max good luck in the rest of his junior year. And also, if I can be of any help to you with the colleges, please let me know and keep sending along players. Most of the players who join us learn about Tennis Europe by word of mouth. And I find it's the most reliable way, and most of our players are very enthusiastic about talking to potential future players.
And I also want to point out, we have an article going up on our website written by another Tennis Europe participant. So make sure to check that out as well. And it's always fun to talk to you guys and hear about your experience. I love getting the parent perspective. So Dorothy, thank you so much for taking time to join us. We had a little bit of a crazy time trying to get this thing scheduled, but we got it done. So thank all of you. To my audience, thank you so much for tuning in. We will catch you next time on Parenting Aces.